up, man. We're warming up. We're just feeling a little bit emotionless. You know what I'm saying? I see you getting the puns in early. And you hear the Drake track in the background. You gotta get the puns in early. You gotta get the puns. Listen, I'm not rapping.
I don't know what's worse, your puns or your rapping.
Hey, leading me to ask, is there anybody like me though? Is there anybody like me though? Like for real though? Like this, listen. I'm not gonna deny. Like this is not what these seminars are about. We get to the introductions in a second. And like Drake is the king of petty, but I don't know anybody else that could have gotten away with bars like this. Hyper petty, fam. Like hyper petty bars. To get away with this stuff is crazy to me.
What are we talking about? What bars?
Emotionless, fam. Drake's track Emotionless.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way, it's the pettiness of every single bar. It's like crazy, man. But like only Drake get away with this. Only. Like it's crazy to me. But that's just I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like people who are petty, I know that petty is like supposed to be a good thing now.
Is it?
I feel like it is. Like everyone glorifies how petty they are.
I mean, yes.
But you're probably miserable if you're that petty, because that means that you're worrying about every little thing and you got to get back to somebody on every little thing.
On every little thing?
I'm good.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
This is what happens when people take the lives of people who are worth like the GDP of Canada
Kim
like, as their own lives.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's just not like, these are the lives of people who are worth billions of dollars, like literally billions of dollars. Like Kanye's worth $5 billion, Drake's the 6% or 4% of Canadian GDP or some stuff like that. Like these aren't normal type numbers that anybody's really thinking. Like you don't live like that, like fam. Like we don't live like that. Rent is an issue still. Don't play with yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't play with yourself.
It's just like, why do you want to be like these people? Because
I mean,
really, like look at celebrities. I feel like celebrities are like society's warning.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Warning.
I'm with you. Watch the swears now. But I'm with you.
Sorry.
But no. I agree with you. I'm with you 100%.
And like people want to emulate celebrities all the time, but it's like, why? These people's lives are probably, you have a lot of money, but also Hollywood makes you crazy. I mean, Scientology exists in Hollywood only.
It could only maintain itself there. It couldn't really exist anywhere else.
It will answer every question you've ever had in your life.
You should just come in and find out for yourself.
It helped me be a better me, so I could finally be what they wanted me to be.
I mean, seriously.
You'd have to be detached from some level of reality in the first place for you to think that's plausible.
And this whole thing with the Kardashians, now look, I'm not like a Kardashian hater. I think they're actually really pretty women, whatever.
Before or after the surgeries?
Well,
is that hate?
Well, I mean, it's true. They were kind of ugly before. Kim looked like Jafar, but
that's harsh. See, I didn't say that.
I'm not going all the way there. Did you see her old picture?
All right, don't repeat it. Why are you doubling down? Like, you're so harsh.
It's true. I'm sorry, but whatever. Like, she has a better face now. She bought it. But like, my thing, like, I noticed a lot of women on social media, especially brown girls. Brown girls, can we just talk about this for a second? If you are Arab, if you are South Asian, I'm talking to you. So many brown girls, it's like they're emulating Kim Kardashian's look. Why? Why do you all want, or not all of you, but a big percentage of you that I see on social media, why do you want to look like Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, for real.
Like, and it's funny because it's like that particular look, now all the brown girls have it on social media. And I'm just like, you all look the same. You all look the same.
For real.
There's nothing unique about anyone. And also, there's all these accounts where it's like, only photos of you. Only photos of you. I'm just like, what?
No, but to be fair, listen. But it's a business. It's a business. Like you got to see it like that. Like they're doing what they need to do because it's a business. Like they're selling a product. I'm not necessarily saying I condone the product they're selling or whatever else. I'm not passing judgment on whatever product they're selling. That's up to them. But what I'm saying is they're selling a product, and that's how you get advertising and marketing to your business. Like I mean, it's just what it is.
Okay.
Like people out here paying these like, yo, you ever heard of it? Listen, you want to know what I heard of today? This is not what we're talking about today. We have a seminar to deal with. We've got issues to deal with. We got real things to get through. But while we're here, you know what I heard of for the first time today? A micro influencer. You ever heard of that? Micro influencers? You ever heard of a micro influencer?
Like a little one? Like a little
like an influencer, but like they're that big. Like an influencer, but what that means is that like you hit like
oh
five.
My God,
you got 5 people
influencer?
Pocket influencers.
Put them in your box.
Pocket influencer. I got a pocket influencer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, these are real things. People out here really like trying to. I don't know if they're calling them, if they're marketing themselves as micro influence. I don't know if that's the thing you want to put on a CV. I don't even know if these people have CVs. You know what I'm saying? This is like, so I don't know what any of this really means. But for the first time in my life, I've heard of a micro influencer earlier on today, and I couldn't believe my ears. I was like, yo, that's a thing. Like, and you could think of yourself that way and not feel ashamed in the evening. Like, listen, I'm on Instagram too. Like, we got business. Shout out to yo, check out TBT on Instagram. Yo, while we here, check out TBT on SoundCloud, check out TBT on Spotify, check out TBT on YouTube, because you're here anyway. Subscribe, do the thing. Check out TBT on Facebook. Yo, we everywhere. The Build on Twos. Hit us up. What's up? What's up? What's up? How we doing?
And I'm making ramen for dinner tonight. You know what, ladies? This is a perfect reminder to remind you to remember this reminder. To stay humble. Oh my God.
Man's mad hype. But
I have a whole face full of cat hair now because I picked up Freddy, and all his hair is like right here. I can feel it. Anyway, continue.
Nah, that's cool. That's cool. I tell you what, we're gonna use that as our segue to intro our show. I don't know how that works, but that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use that as our segue to intro our show. So,
can I just say one thing about influencers, micro or otherwise? Not about influencers, but about this whole influencer thing, like the fact that it exists as a job. And maybe this is me being judgmental. Sorry if it is, but I feel like that's not a real job.
No, that's not a job.
What do you do? Like, what?
I don't know if that's you don't call that's not a job.
In
the traditional sense of a job, that's not a job.
But it's just not. What do you do? What do you do?
Like, you influence.
I take pictures on Instagram. Like, that's not.
To be fair, again, no, but hold on. Again, see, look at me playing devil's advocate. You always got me looking like the wild one because you jump out there with the opinion that I already agree with. Now I got to take the devil's advocate position. Like, I always look wild on it.
You though, if you had the opportunity to be an influencer, you would take it. You see, I wouldn't take it.
In case anybody
I just want to teach at a community college. Community colleges, please hire me. I'm a good teacher.
Service announcement. 1 2 1 2. The Build on Tutors open seminars with Dr.E and Tanzeem the Great Dictator is available for sponsorship deals. Tanzeem will wear your t-shirts.
No, will not.
Or your headbands. Or your mascara.
I don't want to help. I don't want to help capitalism trick people.
Yo, stop.
Further.
Don't do that. No, because then we're going to have that conversation. That's not what today is about. Don't do that. We can have that conversation, but that's not what today. You know what? We can save this for your episode next week with Tangential. We will. We save this as all right, next week. That's it. Anybody who wants to check this out, yo, hit us up and remind us in case we forget, and hit her up. Hit up the Great Dictator. But for real, let her know. Remind us that next week. What we talking about next week? We got Instagram influencers, and then your reluctance to get involved in capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now hit us up. No, because we got your episode next week. It's tangential next week.
We'll get into it next week. Okay.
We'll get into tangential next week. But for this week, we are live. This is Dr.E's Open Seminar Series. I am your boy, Dr.E. We're over here with Tanzeem, the Great Dictator, of course. Same time every week, same place, in our brand new studio. We will be leveling it up, obviously, as time goes on. But, this is a brand new studio spot.
This is my living room. But
I mean, that's your living room. But I'm in the studio. Because, over here, there's levels. You know what I'm saying? Over here, there's levels. Over there, you're in the Bronx. You're in a third world country, so I don't blame you. It's cool. That's okay. No one, listen, it will be judgmental of me.
I will turn this camera off right now.
No, but if you do we assume that you deliberately, or did just the electricity cut out? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it can happen. I'm just wondering. Listen, I'm here for it today. I am here for it today.
Okay? Just calm down. We have hot water right now, electricity right now. We are not at Bangladesh levels yet. It will come one day.
I'm saying, the way some of your relatives are living in Bangladesh, they own a couple levels up already. I gotta be honest with you. I saw some of those houses. The way some of your relatives living in Bangladesh, yo, I don't know.
It's true.
Like, some of them will come to your apartment and be like, yo, how you living? What is this? You ain't got no drivers downstairs. Ain't no one taking you where you need to go. You got to drive yourself.
Oh, I do have a gate.
No, you have a gate, but it looks like it's been shut.
But it's like a prison gate. It's not really a house gate. It looks like they're trying to keep us in.
Nah, that's what it is. It's like a zombie gate. Like they're trying to keep everybody in the building. No, I'm with you. That's what it is. That's like it's a fire safety gate for the rest of New York. But I feel like that's kind of like the Bronx. Like they will eventually just like, you know.
Okay, first of all, we're not gonna hate on the Bronx. This is not cool because, first of all, everyone does this, and it's because the Bronx is the poorest borough. So basically, you're just
this is what I'm saying. It's unfair.
People. So basically, you're just making fun of poor people. So now we're gonna stop it.
Look. She gets sensitive now. Look, she gets sensitive now. Look, it's happening.
Now we're gonna stop it. You see, when I said I was a benevolent dictator, I was serious.
No, I'm playing with you. Listen. But we are going to talk about the United States because we are on Dr.E's Open Seminar Series, episode number 32. 32. We are 32 seminars in. Been here for 32 weeks. Same time, same place, every single week, 7 p.m. YouTube live. And you can follow us on IG, like I was saying beforehand, on Instagram, on Facebook, all the other social medias, But we do the same thing every single week. You know what we do by now. It's the education for a new generation. You know, it's the kind of education you used to have to pay the nose for in these like dry old lecture theaters with these crusty old white men. You know what I'm saying? But we bring you that stuff with a little, you know, a little pizzazz. You know what I'm saying? A little edge. You know, dropping these gems and a little bit of knowledge.
You wouldn't get this education in
no.
Whatever.
No, but to be fair, but theoretically you could, because you're a PhD to be. You're a for real professor. I'm actually a PhD. Like we ain't playing out here. Like we actually know what we're talking about, and this is the difference, right? So I'm PhD. Director, lead tutor, TBT, you know, philosopher extraordinaire, you know me, this, that old stuff. But yeah, that's you know, do 1, 2 little bars. It's like light work, intros, light work. But the point is, we for real like academics out here. We just don't look like or act like idiots. Like we're just real academics.
I've been told that I don't look like a professor because apparently professors are old men with big beards. So I don't look like that. That's what a cab driver told me once.
That's what a cab driver told me once, but he didn't think I was a professor. He thought I was something else. Like, he asked me if I could provide him with something. I was like, no, homie, that's not what I do. I provide education.
My students don't think I'm a professor either. They're just like,
Yeah, for real.
Really?
No, but I can see that because you don't. It's not like you go out of your way to do the whole professory look. Like, that's not your bag. Like, the professory thing isn't really your bag. But that's what I'm saying. So we are for real, like, actual academics out here. So we bring in education on a new level, right? So it's like a different type of education. What we're doing is taking everyday subjects, everyday issues, and then adding that level of expertise, that level of knowledge, and reintroducing critical thinking and philosophy as like a meaningful way of approaching life, and like a meaningful way of approaching everything we do. I feel like it's a necessary thing that nobody deals with anymore. Not to mention, we got mad at these podcasts now. We talked about it beforehand. Like, we're talking about, I've forgotten the billions of dollars industry it is now. A whole bunch of these podcasts, Joe Rogan just signed himself a $250 million deal. Anyone with a camera and a mic just wants to sit down and have a conversation. But nobody knows nothing.
This is what has happened though during quarantine. Everyone and their grandmother started a podcast.
For real. But my point is that nobody knows nothing. Everybody's out here telling me their opinion, but they don't know nothing. Like, why am I just going from one opinion to the next opinion and then putting stock in it because you happen to have a camera and a mic? So my thing was, damn it, I could get a camera and a mic. What's the hype? Plus, I already know something. Like, there's levels to this, and I'm already 1-2 levels above. I just didn't have a camera and a mic. Now we do.
I think we have to talk about, in another episode, isn't all education indoctrination?
Oh, no, that was your thing in the first place. That's what you wanted to talk about last week.
No, but I'm going to talk about the influencer thing.
Listen, it's entirely tangential. Next
but after that, we should have a conversation around education in general, and isn't this to some degree indoctrination?
Yes. But see, I actually teach, right? You actually teach. Like, I've actually got students. TBT is actually a tutoring service, believe it or not. And you actually are a professor, you actually teach, right? But I don't know that I've had a class where I haven't said that explicitly. I'm like, no, I'm indoctrinating you. Because my thing is, if I tell you I'm indoctrinating you and you still get indoctrinated, that's your fault now.
Yeah,
I didn't do that. That's your fault.
I don't know. I don't do that in class. My thing in class is like, I don't want to indoctrinate you. I want you to just think critically. You can disagree with me. You can have your own ideas.
We're gonna have this conversation.
But think critically. Yeah.
No. We will have this conversation next week. I'm with you, but I will say this much. I will say this much because it kind of segues into what we're talking about anyway. But I'll say this much. I'm with you that you don't want to indoctrinate them, but there's a degree to which it's kind of inevitable. Like, there's an inevitability about it insofar as the setup. As soon as you walk into that environment, the setup kind of predetermines that. So, for example, everybody in that classroom or everybody in that room, wherever you are delivering your lessons, almost has to, that it's like a prerequisite for them to give you a degree of a margin of error and authority. Like they have to assume your expertise to some degree, and they have to assume your authority to some degree, and they have to give you a margin of error to some degree, and they all do it kind of like intuitively. Nobody thinks about it. It's just like an intuitive thing. All of those things means it means that they just swallow stuff like more willingly from you that they might otherwise have to critically think about. So no matter how often you insist and be like, listen, I want you to critically assess everything I say, goodness, whatever else, it's just not possible for them to do it with every statement, even that one. So even when you say, I want you to critically analyze everything I say, for them to take you seriously on that point, they'd have to critically analyze that statement, right? They'd be like, well, why should I critically assess everything? But they don't. They swallow that and go on, because there's a degree of, I have to buy your authority to some level. And that brings us to today's issue. See the segues. See, King is saying, I'm here today, man. I'm telling you, I'm hyped. I'm here today. I got my Snoopy. Yo, I'm here. What's up?
Oh my God, I was gonna say, I love that Snoopy. Where'd you get it?
This was your Snoopy. This is your idea.
I know. You're welcome.
Snoopy, Joe Cool. I got my Snoopy. I got my levels. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good today. I'm feeling good. Plus the lineup is insane.
I just want to say we're both wearing Fashion Nova. My whole closet is now Fashion Nova. Like
that's disturbing.
But it's me and everyone else. When I walk outside, everybody has on Fashion Nova. Everybody.
That's also disturbing. We need to shout out Culture Barbers. Yo, Culture Barbers. Yo, check out Culture Barbers on Instagram. Hit up Culture Barbers. Yo, if anybody lives down here in the Southeast, I don't care where you live in the Southeast of the UK. Yo, I need to check my man out. Like seriously, hit him up. The lineups are insane. But in any case,
hi OJ, if you're watching.
Yeah, nah, for real. I was supposed to hit him up the other day, so I forgot to, and now I know I'm gonna get like an angry Ghanaian on the phone now. Like, cause I forgot.
What are you doing?
I was busy.
You didn't call me. God is good, eh? God is good.
Don't do that. Don't, because my poor man. You know, you've seen my man's like early morning lives where he gives his sermon outside the barbershop. It's deep.
Exactly. That's what I'm doing. I'm emulating him.
Listen, you are the only one that can get away with that right now. I am not attempting that. I actually know my man, and he lines me up with a straight razor. You know, I'm not risking none. I'm not taking any risk. No 6'2" angry Ghanaian with a straight razor. Nah, hell no. Hell no, I ain't taking a risk. Even if I thought I could get away, his brother's 6'4" and he lives next door. Like, no. I'm not getting into all of that. But
praise be to God.
Praise be to God. See, okay, that's what I'm doing. But the point is, so we're here for today's open seminar episode, and today is once a month we do the same thing, which is a lessons from literature episode, which is what we got going on today. So we got a particular text that we're going to talk about today, one that I feel or you feel or we feel either should be or has been on curricula in the past and should be again in the future, the kind of stuff that we feel like educates on a different levels. It's, less the boring literature that you usually get in schools and universities and whatever else, more entertaining, more interesting, more profound, deeper literature. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get to that, because you've been talking about for the last two seminars, and you've been making predictions that have been wrong. I got to tell you,
it's the first time ever.
You've been off 2 times in a row. So what I'm saying is, I'm just saying you're bad at this. But now you're bad at it. But talk to me about, because the elections have been bothering you for the past 2 weeks. It was a hype. It was an issue we talked about in the last 2 seminars. And I know today's not really about elections and politics, and that's not what these seminars are about. But I have to be honest. I was caught somewhere between being like entertained and being a little nervous when I saw 10,000 people marching in Washington or wherever the hell it was.
Oh God, the MAGA march or whatever the hell
Yeah. The million MAGA march that like 1 million people didn't turn up. They got like 20,000 people. It was like a joke, but cool. The point is, you got 20,000 idiots in a country full of 300 million. So you ain't got nobody really. But if we got 20,000 views on YouTube, I still be trying to get, like, that's not, we working for something here. So what I'm saying is, you had 20,000 people marching because they were all insistent that Fox News, all of the news media, everybody else is lying, Trump won the election. I don't know. I mean, listen, I could talk to you about this all day long, but seeing as this has been your bag for the past 2 weeks, I'm going to let you take the reins for a second. How you feel about this?
I don't care anymore. I don't care. Just give me free healthcare. Get rid of my school debt. Give us some stimulus checks. Get this virus under control. Like, just do those things. I don't care.
So you're past the whole like.
Because the thing is, they all suck. Like, they literally all suck. There's not a good politician in the U.S. or probably in the world. They all suck. That's what it means to be a politician, unfortunately. So it's just like, do the things that you need to do to help people, or sit down and get out the way. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't care anymore. Like, Biden sucks, Harris sucks, Trump sucks, Clinton sucks.
All right, but okay,
they all suck. Obama sucks. Like, they all suck.
But here's the thing that caught me. All right, so here's what got my attention more than anything. I'm with you on all of those points. Like, I agree with you on. I'm not going to kind of like debate any of those points in particular, right? But the thing that got my attention more than anything else is the level of denial in that crowd, right? The sheer scale of denial in that. Like, I'm accustomed to, politically speaking, we're accustomed to throwing that word around, and I'm accustomed to people being in denial about a whole bunch of things. That's like normal to a degree. But this level of denial, like this scale of, is insane, right? Because what occurred to me was that same crowd, that million MAGA march of idiots, whatever, like the basket deplorables, those, your bros over there, right? So this march of like nutters. What occurred to me was that amongst them, right? Not even amongst them, the whole crew, that whole crew is as much in denial as about the Trump election, or Trump loss, as it were, as they are about, I'm sure, coronavirus, because none of them wear a mask. Yep. As they are about, I'm sure, the global warming.
Yep.
As they are, I'm sure about. Not for real. As they are, I'm sure, about racism.
Fake news.
Even though most of them themselves will be racist, they will be racist on the basis that they think that, these black
I'm the least racist person in this room.
Need that same more. Need that same more. That's my point. You see my point? That's my point. So what I mean is, like, it just occurred to me that there's like this enormous...
You know what a MAGA guy said to me once? Sorry, I just have to add this. Do you know what a MAGA guy said to me once when when I told him that Trump was racist? He's not racist. You just think he is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, but that's how we determine, that's how thinking in truth happens. Like, I have to think something is the case, and then we establish, that's how that works. Yes, I do think he is. You're like telling me what I just told you again.
But it's also, but what they're basically saying is just because you think it doesn't mean it's true.
Doesn't mean it's true.
But the thing is, it's actually true. Like, he's actually said racist things about, he's locked up migrants on the border. He's called Mexicans rapists. He did a Muslim ban. He has made all kinds of inflammatory statements. I mean, but again, this is the same denial.
Unaware of the fact that he's racist. No, but that's what I'm saying to you. I like, it's that level of denial. Yeah, it's that like extreme level of, and denial across the board on all of these subjects, right?
And it's not new. It's not just with this election. That's the thing. It's been since his last campaign. Yeah. When he ran in 2016, like, this is how he won.
Because he introduced this concept, but this was it, right? He introduced this concept of a language, like literally a vocabulary or a way of speaking that permits of lies, because it doesn't have to feign rationality. So it doesn't have to pretend to be real. It doesn't have to pretend to make sense. It doesn't have to. It's locker room talk. Like, that's what we ended up. That's the name that we all gave it. It ended up being locker room or Trumpisms, like whatever you want to call it. Right. Whether it's locker room talk or Trumpisms, what we're talking about is a way of speaking where you can be permanently in denial, and it's okay. Like, you're not obligated to say anything that's true anymore.
But I feel like that's half this country, to be honest with you, because the way he speaks, I know that it shocked all of you guys. When I heard it, I was like, oh, I've heard this before from random Americans, because this is how people in this country, not everyone, but a big majority, speak and think and act. I mean, Trump is like the perfect example of an American, unfortunately.
He is the president that is, and he's principally one of those who's deeply, profoundly in denial about everything, about everything, right? Like, whatever it is, like whether it's the crowd sizes or whether like in his first, like from the start, or whether it's his income or lack thereof, or whether it's his relationships with other women, or if we can even call them that, his abuse of other women. Like he's in denial about everything. But this is what I'm saying. He has a way of speaking. It's the car salesman way of talking, right? It's like that lower rung of the capitalist like strata. So before that, the people who you would have seen at that level of politics, right? So the people who you would have seen engaging in politics at that level of the world of industry and capitalism would have been like, the owners, the big players. So your Steve Jobs type characters, right? These kind of figures, your Bill Gates type characters.
They're also liars. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's not like Trump is unique in his
100%.
being a liar. They're also liars, but they just do it differently. They don't do it so blatantly in your face, like I'm gonna lie and then I'm gonna lie again and I'm gonna lie again and then just leave it there.
but this is what I'm saying. No, I agree with you. This is what I'm saying, right? So for those people at that slightly higher rung on the capitalist kind of like strata of things, on the capitalist scale of things, those people would have been slightly higher up on that rung. One, because their money ain't fake, like they really had money. Hey, what's up, Trump? And two, because they actually run things. It's not like a marketing thing. They don't just own hotels and casinos. They actually running large parts of society. Like these are significant players, as your Mark Zuckerbergs and your Steve Jobs and your God knows whoever else. Like all of these people were and are significant features of American society. So those people would have been the ones talking to politicians. Now you're at a slightly lower level of capitalist kind of enterprise. It's your car salesman type figure who can make it all the way. Your reality TV star car salesman type dude. Like that's what Trump is. He's a car salesman. Yeah. So when you go to buy a car, this is the difference. When you go to buy a car, you expect your man to lie to you. Like you assume he's lying to you because he's selling you the car. Like that's the idea. So he's going to go out of his way to lie to you and over exaggerate the case and da-da. So you have a conversation with the car salesman on those terms. You never say to him, you're lying to me. This is the weird thing. Like when you go to buy a car, you know he's lying. He knows he's lying. And he knows you know. But nobody says you're lying. You don't say that. You just continue talking on the assumption that he's lying and we both know what's going on here because he's selling a car. Nobody's expecting that from a president because the language prior to that was what you were talking about. Like you're supposed to be professional and God knows whatever else, and give the illusion of rationality and reason. Like to give the illusion of truth. Even though you are lying, you're supposed to sell me the illusion of truth. What this dude's doing is like, nah, forget the illusion of truth. I'm just lying. Like straight up, like what's up? And it's normal talk. Like he's saying, it's car salesman talk. And everybody's bought a car. Yep. Like it's car salesman talk. That's all it is, and it permits of an enormous degree of denial. That's what I'm saying. It allows for like an incredible degree of denial to an extent I'm not sure has been the case in U.S. political history. Like I'm not going to speak for the world and history and whatever. That's crazy. But in U.S. political history, I don't know that it's been the case that people have been this deep into denial, and it's like. So we spoke about this earlier.
And in such large numbers. And the thing is that Manga March is not a good representation of just how many people were willing to re-elect this guy, because him and Biden were really, really close. Biden did win it, but the numbers are really close. Millions of people in this country thought this monkey was a good option.
Yeah, 100%. No, 72, what was it, 70 million?
I don't remember.
70 million, 72 million, like some number. It's the second highest turnout in U.S. electoral history. So it's like, it was bettered by the first highest turnout in U.S. electoral history, but that's it. The gap is 5.5 million voters, but that's it. So it's almost twice the gap that Hillary Clinton had over him, but it's 5.5 million voters. So we're talking about, like, in a country of 300 million people, 5 million voters was what's making a difference. In a country of 300 million people, which is kind of crazy.
Yep.
Like, that's crazy. That means you got a problem one way or the other with 295 million people, like one way or the other. Okay, we can't say 295 million people because half of those people aren't of voting age, but like, you know what I mean? So it'd be like 145, but it's like, it's crazy. But, so this is what I'm talking about. We spoke about this the other night, this idea of like denial and cognitive dissonance. Do you know what I mean? Where like, so cognitive dissonance.
What is it? Explain it.
I'm holding in my head several different attitudes. On one hand, I'm great and smart and nice and can't be fooled. But though there's also some other things that kind of prove that I made a dumb choice and now it's uh-oh boo-hoo. It makes me uncomfortable and inconsistent, and it's a thing called cognitive dissonance. It makes me uncomfortable and inconsistent, and it's a thing called cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, for those, see, we get teacher. For those
For
who don't
me
know,
as well.
we had this conversation.
I know, but I don't remember. Just
Now that is a teachable moment for everybody watching. Y'all don't know how many times I say something over again because I don't remember what you said last week. Yeah, not for so no. Cognitive dissonance is what it's the term we use for what happens when you can't rationalize what you think of as two opposing truths, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, you think of Trump as a truth teller and a savior of the planet, but it's factually the case that Trump is the reason, or Trump is responsible to some degree, we'll say, for the loss of, I think, was it 245,000 lives to coronavirus in the course of the last 6 months, right, in the United States. The worst case count and death count anywhere on planet Earth at the moment. Mm-hmm. Like, it's literally the shit.
And rising. It's rising.
And rising.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So 10 million plus cases, all of that stuff. He's at least to some degree directly responsible for all of this. But if I'm a Trump fan, not that I am, but if I were a Trump fan, it would be hard to square that with like, oh, but he's the hero saving the nation. Like, how do I square the fact that he's responsible for this and there is a virus and it's killing people, so that's kind of his fault, with the fact that, nah, but he's the hero that's going to save the nations? I can't square those two things off. So what I end up doing is making up some, like, insane excuse to level it out. So what it will be is, he's playing 4D chess. Y'all don't see the moves. See, y'all don't see the moves. See, it's because he knows that the virus did, and then that's when they start getting crazy. And then
conspiracy theories and all kinds of
and you start going down crazy route. Exactly. And if you're not that much of a thinker of a human being, somebody else will provide that gibberish for you. I mean, it's the internet. That stuff's available everywhere. So somebody would have had this gibberish thought and provided it for you. Cool. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that cognitive dissonance is what happens is the term for what happens when you just can't line up to what you think of as two truths, right? You can't square those two in your head, so you have to come up with a third in order to permit both to be the case. Mm-hmm. You couldn't because you don't want to drop one. Like, if you take into consideration that Trump is responsible for coronavirus deaths, you might have to not believe that he's the savior of the country. But you don't want to drop that. By the same token, you can't drop the fact that the coronavirus is killing people because maybe it's your auntie or your uncle or your granddad or your grandma who got sick. With 295,000 or 45,000 dead people in the US and 10 million cases, that's broad enough that everyone's getting touched by this. Mm-hmm. Like, soon enough, it will be 1 in every 100 people.
Yep.
Soon enough. It's not quite there, but soon enough, 1 in every 100 people would have been touched to some degree personally. But that's a crazy number.
Yeah.
Like, that's a nutty number. Not even 1 in every 100, 1 in every 10. What am I talking about? I can't do maths.
Really? 1 in every 10?
If you end up with 30 million cases, you've got 10 million cases now. If you end up with 30 million cases, there's 300 million people living in the country. That's 1 in every 10.
Yeah. I know a lot
every
of people
10 people you know,
yeah,
somebody would have been touched by it if it ain't you. Yeah. Those numbers are crazy. Like, 1 in 10 is nuts.
And don't even start with like the deaths that are gonna come as a result of this.
It's a cluster. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. So if I'm a Trump supporter, and a lot of these people live in coronavirus ravaged places.
Yep.
Like, a lot of them live in places that have had massive spikes in coronavirus, major issues at the hospitals, So if I'm one of those people who may have had like a parent or a loved one, or know somebody who's had a parent or a loved one lost, and rest in peace to anybody who has, of course, but who lost somebody to coronavirus, you can't now then tell yourself it don't exist. So you can't drop that, and you can't drop this. Like, I can't drop thinking that Trump is a savior, but I can't drop thinking that coronavirus exists. So I got to square this off somehow. So conspiracy theory. You see what I'm saying? That's what ends up happening. But that level of denial, it's excessive, and that's what I'm saying is so weird. Like, in terms of, it's everywhere. Brexit was like, it's not just the US.
Well, it's also, it just seems like we're in a time when there's like, and I'm sorry to call some people stupid, but it's just like mass stupidity, extreme stupidity, globally, particularly in the United States and Europe. Like, I mean, look, you're right. Brexit was the same thing, right? Where it's just like, well, what are you people doing? Like, you know, this is a bad idea, but you're gonna do it anyway. Like,
and then they would say it. I heard,
yeah.
we heard voters go on the radio and explicitly say it. Even if it means we're diving off a cliff edge, we need to do it. Even if it means that I'm gonna lose. One guy said I might lose my job for the next 10 years, but I'm willing to eat that. Because, and when they asked him why, what you hoping to get, he said, I don't know. He literally said, I don't know. He said, but what else should I do? Like, what else? I gotta do something. So
I have a cousin.
Do nothing.
So I have a cousin that voted for Brexit. Ugh. Only person in my family, I hope. And when I asked him, or he was writing about it, and he was like, oh, things are gonna get hard, but we just have to tighten our buckles or something. It's like tighten our belt. I'm like, what are you saying? Like, you voted for this thing that's horrible.
And see, and look at the implication. It's not like he doesn't know that the implication of the phrase that he's making, because you got to tighten your belt, homie. Some people ain't got a belt. Like, some people's, for one, I might not have a belt. For two, my belt, if I did have one, might be so tight I'm cutting off the circulation as it is. Like, what do you want me to do out here? So what you're saying is you're necessitating a certain percentage of the population that you're just willing to cut off because, like, you know, screw them. Because I got a Brexit. And then they got down to that too. So when they said, you know, if you lost Scotland over this, would you still be willing to do it? It was like 56% of them said yes. Nah, we'll lose Scotland. I'm like, fam, are you nuts? So it's like now you want to just reduce the whole country to little old England and have no trade deals with nobody ever anywhere in the world because, you know, I got a Brexit. Like, it's fam.
No, but that is the greatest, that is, with all the history of the UK, of England, the British Empire, all this is the best medicine for that.
I know, I understand it. I understand that.
I love it.
So, lessons from literature, because we are getting to this. So all of this denial stuff, right? And I'm sitting here thinking, like, what are we talking about today? How are we dealing with this? What's the book? What's the story? How are we approaching the issue of denial? And then it occurred to me that maybe I'm being a little harsh because of this book. So it's not a book, it's a short story, right? It's a short story by, if anybody doesn't know. Wait, what?
What is the name?
What is the name of short story?
Yes.
The short, that's terrible. I can't believe I just did that, to be honest with you. I really can't believe I just...
Why?
That god awful accent, like live. Like, I didn't know what that accent was. It was like nondescript.
The Bet by Anton Chekhov, the Russian, yes.
Loose Voititium. Veloué Sizzle. A people could dare vine jar.
Okay, this is gonna be a thing now. We're gonna do this now.
Kakarats, Zuchanai, Latunchi, Edgy Planet, Karaje, Asparaja.
Oh, because I don't do this normally?
No, fair, that's very true, but like that's what I'm saying. Do I have to kind of like live with this on live too?
Son of a bitch! You done messed up, Aaron! Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did.
Who?
Oshag Hennessy!
Principal O'Shaughnessy?
Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass!
Yeah, no, I'm playing with you. No, it's the
maybe
bet.
Yes, maybe no, we will see.
Unbelievable. So it's the bet by Anton Chekhov. Anton Chekhov, born 1860, dies 1904. So the guy died at 44 years of age. He's arguably, he's a Russian playwright, right? Short story writer and playwright, and arguably the greatest, if not one of the greatest playwrights of like all time ever. He's not for me the best, not for me personally, but for a lot of people, Chekhov is Chekhov. It's like a Chekhov fan. Like it's like it's Anton Chekhov. His plays are incredible. His writing is incredible. And one of his stories occurred to me while I was sitting here thinking about this issue of denial, right? And I actually teach this. So you know, for all of you out there who need a teacher who knows what they're talking about and give you like interesting texts and what have you, and then 1-2 interesting lessons, hit me up, fam. But the point is, so there's this story called The Bet that he wrote. It's like, I don't know, is it 5 pages or something?
Yeah, it's really short.
It's like, yeah, for real, it's literally 5 pages. Yo, I memorized it. Check this out. Like, I really did memorize that.
You memorized the whole piece, you nerd.
I've memorized a lot of things that make me way nerdier. You don't know. You don't listen. Can I tell you this as a side point? Let me just tell you this as a side issue. Did you know before you and I met, right? There was a whole summer. I can't remember when exactly. I think it was like between the bachelor's and the master's or something, like academic flex. What's up? Academic flex. Sometime between my bachelor's and my master's, just leveling up, light work, you know what I'm saying? And then, there was the master's and a PhD anyway. So sometime between the bachelor's and the master's in that summer, I think then, or it would have been between college and the bachelor. I'm not sure.
All right, whatever. You got a lot of degrees. We know.
No. What I'm saying is, at some stage in that period of time, a friend of mine had been given this CD. Look how old we are. He'd been given a CD, right? And on the CD, or 3 CDs, and on the CDs were 48 hours lectures from Noam Chomsky. And he said that it was as close to a full compendium of all of the lectures Chomsky had ever given as he could find. And somebody had put this together for him, put it on a CD. He was like, yo, I thought you might appreciate this. I was like, yes, I appreciate this. Me in my geeky, nerdy self took that CD and sat down all summer, listened to every word 3 times and wrote it all down. All of it. Like I was in a lecture theater listening to Chomsky deliver a lecture, taking notes in order to pass an exam or something. I wrote everything. I played everything 3 times and wrote everything down.
Sometimes I wonder how this marriage happened.
Well, what happened was this beautiful bull-headed Arab turned up one day. It just in your life. And you were like, I don't like anybody. What's going on? Oh, who is he though? And I was like, yo, baby, how you doing? So what's up with you? How's your day? How you feeling? What's up? They'd be like, yo, let me take you out for a quick drink. Or we just need to kick it, have a conversation.
That's not how it happened.
In your face, you're like, I didn't know if I want to do this. But inside, I can see your eyes. You're like, yo, this sexy fine hair right now.
Not even close. You definitely stalked me and harassed me until I gave in. But continue your story. Continue talking about Chekhov.
Why you make me sound like Pepe Le Pew?
I mean, you are. I told you this. I married Pepe Le Pew.
Nah. First of all, I'm Arab, so it would be Pepe El Pew.
Oh God.
We don't Pepe Le Pew. We Pepe El Pew. Okay. Second of all, you got the accents all wrong. The emphasis is all wrong. We're Arab, so it would be Papa El Pew. Okay. Papa, not Pepe. Papa El Pew.
Oh my God. You sound like a dictator now.
See, you Arab it up suddenly. Papa El Pew. No, we are not Pepe Le Pew. This is not gonna happen. I'm nipping this in the bud. The point is Anton Chekhov, and the story is called The Bet, right? So Chekhov writes the story, and I'm thinking about denial, or whatever else. Yo, where else do you get this kind of information? How are we segueing from that to this? Now, where else do you get a lecture like this? The point is, so I read this story. I read it ages ago. I deliver it in classes sometimes with my students. And it's a really, really simple 5-page short story about principally about these two dudes engaged in a debate, right? So you got this old head banker, and then you got this young brer lawyer. Cool. Young brer lawyer turns up at old head banker's party one day because my man's like, he's lit because he got mad money. Cool. So he's got a party in his house. He invited all the all those people over to his house. Yada yada yada. They all chilling. Cool. Debate breaks out between them, and the debate that breaks out between them, mind you, all the while the lawyer's like chilling. He's in the corner keeping himself to himself, right? Doing his
lawyering.
Wait, what did you say?
Lawyering.
Oh, no, you said lawyering. I was gonna go with his best Lord of the Rings impression. Remember when what's his face is sitting in the corner of the bar, like hood up, you know what I'm saying?
No, because I never saw anything past the first movie. But yeah, continue.
Okay, we could have just lost mad viewers right there. You have to prepare me before you say terrible things like that.
How is it terrible? It's weird. It's a movie about hobbits. Like, okay.
Fam. Okay, but the point is,
I've also never seen Star Wars because it's boring.
Okay, stop doing this to me. You're hurting my feelings. What I'm saying to you is this. So the guy is like sitting in the corner of the party. He's not getting involved, right? Cool. And then at some stage, this debate breaks out. This discussion breaks out, and the discussion is over which is more humane between life imprisonment and the death sentence, right? So should the state have the power of death sentence, or should it just give you life imprisonment? Of course, we don't have the death sentence in the UK. Y'all are still a bit in. But the point is, we don't do that over here. So that conversation has been and gone since I can't remember when. But the point is, that's the debate that breaks out between them. Young brer lawyer says, he ends up interjecting, and he takes the position of he feels like life imprisonment is the more humane thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Old head banker says, nah, fam, it's got to be death. Because like what you're talking about is killing somebody slowly. Like they gonna die, but they're just gonna die mad slow sitting in prison. What I'm talking about is just ending this gibberish and getting them out of their misery.
Mm-hmm.
The lawyer says, yeah, but fam, any life is life. Like, all right, well, you're in a prison or you're not in a prison. You could learn from life wherever the hell you are. Any life is better than no life. Like, I could learn more from any life, even if it is sat in one spot, than I can from no life. So, banker says, bet. And lawyer says, all right, what's the terms? So he says to him, bet, here's what we do. You agree. What was it, 15 years? You read it.
15, yeah.
15 years. He said to him, here's the terms. You agree to chill in a room.
He said 5 years first. The banker said 5 years. And the lawyer was like, I don't need to do 5 years. I could do 15 years.
Kind of sounds like you. You did it. That's a good impression. Because this would be something you would do. For real. This would be a decision you would... Because just to prove your point, you would lock yourself away for 15 years. This would be, I'm going to show them. I will take it. I don't even need 5 years. Watch me. I do it for 20. Alright, you need to chill. But that's your bag. That's what you do. You go, double down on the bad idea. That's your thing. So, my man says, nah, cool, bet I could do 15. So he's like, alright, cool, we'll do 15. Shoot, let's do it. So 15 years, you have to be, to this day, 15 years to this day, like, on 15 years hence, this day, this time, goodness, whatever time it is now, yada, yada, yada. You got to chill in the garden shed. Like, it's a rich man garden shed, so it's like a whole house. But you chill down there, right? And the deal is you can't talk to nobody. You can't see nobody. You can't call nobody. You can have no interaction. It's isolation, basically. Like, solid, like isolation.
Solitary confinement.
Solitary confinement. That's it. That's the one I'm looking for. For 15 years. But he did say, I won't make it that bad for you. Right? We'll make it a little fun. Which is to say that if you want to, you can have anything you want. So if you wanted a steak, you can have a steak. Speaking, I'm gonna make some steak tonight. I got me steak waiting for me. I'll go home and cook me up a steak. I'm for real. I'm hyped. But the point is, you can have anything you want to eat. You can have anything you want to smoke, anything you want to drink, any kind of music you want to hear, any books you want to, whatever you want, homie, we'll bring it to you. The only condition is you can't see nobody. And if you hold out for the full 15 years, what's he say? What's the winnings? We done lost you for like a full 2 minutes. I don't even
No, you were gone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, fam.
Yeah, my thing is just like, can you have a cat? Because if I could have Freddie, I'm fine.
No, I don't think cats are permitted, fam. I feel like that's still interaction with a being.
Oh, then kill me. Kill me.
Then kill me.
Bro.
Yo, Freddie should know how much you love him. If I can't have Freddie, kill me. I don't know that you've ever said that to me. If you don't love me, I would die. I don't think you ever said that ish to me. But if
it
I
only
can't
applies
have
to Freddie.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, all right. So he offers him, I think it's $2 million, right? Is the deal? All right, this is old people money. So we're talking about the 1800s here. So we could level this up. We like a Billy. Cool. I'm gonna drop you a cool Billy for 15 years in solitary confinement. Now, for real, would you do it? For real? No playing.
No.
The book's, anybody needs to check this out. Go check it out in the chat for real. The book's called The Bet, Anton Chekhov. Check it out. Go hit us up. Read some stuff. Read something. That's the point of lessons from literature.
It's really good. You guys should definitely read it. I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't? Just for a Billy, a cool Billy. Like, I'll give you a whole Billy. That's your whole family sorted for the next 4 generations.
Right. Yeah, that would be great, but just kill me because solitary confinement, no.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
10 years.
I can't even stay in my house for like a weekend without going crazy.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, cabin fever, fam. I know, it's very true. I'm with you.
Yeah. No, I have to be out in the world interacting with something.
So you wouldn't do it under any circumstance?
No. Just kill me.
So as the story goes, my man does it. Takes up the bet. Because he wants the money. Goes ahead and does it. I don't know. You remember what happened?
So he starts reading like everything he can possibly read. He starts with, what is it? Like, he's like, I don't know, one year he learned, like, he reads like literature, all these classic
Yeah.
literature books.
Yeah.
Then one year he learns like all these like 5 languages or something, and then he like translates something in all 5 languages. And then he reads like science. He
Yeah.
reads what, religion.
The
He reads
Bible.
the Bible for like a whole year. He reads it over and over again. He reads, and then he starts reading philosophy. And then at the last year, his reading is just like all over the place. It's like he'll read a novel, and then he'll ask for a philosophy book, and then he'll ask for science, and he'll ask for this other thing, and then it's like everywhere.
And then eventually he stops, right? Like at some point he stops reading altogether. He'll read lightly, like a bit of the Bible and a bit of philosophy here and there, but that's it. He stops. And what's cool is that in the process of that 15 years, he goes through all these changes, right? So like initially he starts off by saying if he wants to stay here for a full 15 years, he needs to keep the place clean, right? So he's like, I don't want to smoke nothing. I don't want to get drunk. I don't want to because if I get drunk, it's gonna make me want things, and if I want things, I'm gonna feel depressed because I can't get nothing. And if I smoke in here, then it's gonna make the place nasty and stinky and and I gotta be here 15 years. I can't go nowhere. So I won't do
And he's
that.
right. Desire is the root of suffering.
That was his idea. Like I don't want to want. And if I want, then I'm gonna feel bad because I can't get what I want. So like I don't want to do none of that. So he tries to stay clean for the first couple years, and then after a couple years that breaks down. He's like, nah, screw this, and starts ordering everything he could possibly want, and does go mad on it, like mad music, and he's heard singing, and he's heard crying, and like there's a whole thing. And then eventually he switches it up again, and it goes silent, right? Like I don't need that no more. So it's like he goes through all of these stages in the course of this like 15-year stay. Meanwhile, at the same time, your banker dude in the back, losing all his money, goes broke in that 15-year period. But here's the thing, we're gonna zoom this. Get the joke? We're gonna zoom this forward. But here's the thing. So it gets towards the end of the 15 years, right? And the night before, he's due to be released and get his 2 million. He pens a letter intended for the banker. The banker is at home thinking about how to what was it? He wants to I forgot how he wants to do it.
What?
The assassination.
Oh yeah. So the banker, he decides that he's gonna kill the guy because he doesn't have the money to pay him. Because he's lost all his money. So he creeps into the cell area where the guy is being held, and he sees the watchman or whoever was like standing guard, and he's like, oh, if they suspect anyone, it'll be him. So he's like literally plotting to like not only kill him but let somebody else take the fall. So he goes and he looks into like the room, like through like a peephole or something. And he sees the guy, and he sees all the books all over the place, and then I forget what happened.
Well, then he walks over to the dude with the intention of killing him, but as he nears him, he finds this letter, reads the letter, and the letter said, well, it's like a long letter, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I am gonna read like a little section of it, right? Because like he says some profound-ish. So y'all go and look this up. You need to read this. But the very, very end of the letter that he reads to this guy, and I'm not giving away any endings, but y'all need to read this book. He says to him, having read everything and learned everything and like, studied for the last 15 years and been sat here doing nothing else, he says, I'm quoting, I despise your books. I despise all worldly blessings and wisdom. Everything is void, frail, visionary, and delusive as a mirage. Though you be proud and wise and beautiful, death will wipe you from the face of the earth like the mice underground, and your posterity, your history, and the immortality of your men of genius will be as frozen slag burnt down together with a terrestrial globe. You are mad and gone the wrong way. You take falsehood for truth and ugliness for beauty. You would marvel if suddenly apple and orange trees should bear frogs and lizards instead of fruit, and if roses should begin to breathe the odor of a sweating horse. So do I marvel at you, who have bartered heaven for earth. I don't want to understand you. And that I may show you indeed my contempt for that by which you live, I waive the 2 million of which I once dreamed of as paradise, and which I now despise. That I may deprive myself of my right to them, I shall come out from here 5 minutes before the stipulated term, and thus shall violate the agreement. Like, it's the deepest, like when I read it, I lost there's just, the writing is profound, and there's a lot more to it than that. But the idea, and the banker ends up leaving in shame. The guy does run away so that he waives his right to the 2 million. The banker doesn't have to kill him so he can keep his 2 million, and then saves the note in like a safe, like locks it away. And that to me That speech and that action in particular by that banker, to me, is the whole denial game, right? That's the whole game.
Can you just break down translate what he was basically saying in that letter for all the Americans?
For all the Americans, you're hilarious. No, I'm with you. No, for real. No, so, all right. So all he's basically saying is that you live in a world in which your priorities and your values are upside down. Mm-hmm. You've traded in an understanding of life that I've arrived at by virtue of sitting still and doing nothing for 15 years. You could have done the same thing. You traded that in for wealth, for cars, for money, for a house or some gibberish or whatever it is. And ultimately, in the course of all of this, it's all gonna get wiped off the face of the earth just like you. Fam, you're a mortal creature, and rather than sitting here trying to understand or cope with your own mortality, you spent the entirety of your existence dedicated to wealth, or dedicated to income, or dedicated to some false idol, some god, some gibberish. Like, these are biblical words. It's not like profound. Like Chekhov is a Christian. Like, this is a biblical idea. It's not new. But to me, this was the whole denial game. Like, one, the letter, and two, the saving of it in that safe. The fact that he could have burnt that letter whenever he wanted to, but he locked it away, like almost for himself. It's a madness. But it's the idea that, and we ain't gonna kick all of this today because we ain't got the time for it. But it's the idea that, to some degree or another, and this is why I was saying I felt like I was being a little bit harsh when we're sitting here talking about the denial that all of these Trump people are in, right? They are in denial, of course, and it is an extreme degree of denial, of course, but to some degree or another, we're all doing that. Like, I'm not saying we're doing what they're doing. I'm not running around here saying coronavirus don't exist and Trump won something. No, but to some degree, we all have to engage in a level of denial, right? Like, just to function in life. Like, just to move about your everyday, like just to wake up in the morning and do what you do. Look, I was saying this to somebody I knew earlier on today. Every single person who's ever planted a tree or raised a child knows this, which is to say that your aim is to transition, to pass away before you see that child or that tree mature. That's the idea. Like, you don't want to see them age and die and wither. That's not the point. You're supposed to go before them. You know this. But that knowledge doesn't do anything to change the way that you raise that child. If anything, it imposes a greater responsibility on you. It's not as though because you know you're passing away or you're going to transition soon too, or you could transition at any minute, you don't know. Especially in coronavirus times, it's not because of that you go, oh, well, then what's the point? You give up. Forget it then. If anything, it makes you go harder. So what I'm saying is, to some degree, we all get like engaged in a level of like denial every single day about like we deny the reality of the fact that you don't know when your time is up. You don't know when you can transition. You don't know whether or not you wake up from sleep every night. Like, you don't know these things to a fault. You don't know. But you can't live like that. You can't function on a day-to-day like that. You can't go about your life, oh no, it could end at any minute. Well, yeah, well, it could, but that's what it is.
So is that denial, or is it, because I don't feel like that's the same as denial. That's not the same as like these Trump supporters.
No, I agree, but I think the difference is the way it's directed, right? So, for example, so when we're saying you have to be in a degree of denial in order to raise a child, because you know that you're going to transition before that child, or at least that's the plan. That's not, you're absolutely right. It's not denial in the same way that somebody's denying the coronavirus exists according to whatever else. And the reason it's not is because it's not that I'm denying my mortality. I'm completely aware of it and then accepting my responsibilities in face of that. Like, I still have to do what I need to do, regardless. Right? I still have to, in fact, not even regardless, it kind of, as I said, it imposes an extra authority. So it's what it's directed towards. I'm not ignoring, but I'm accepting the inevitability of my mortality, but for the benefit of somebody else. Like, I'm doing it for that person, or for that tree that I planted, or for that child I'm trying to raise, or for that whatever it is. I'm doing it for someone and something else. It's like ethically, morally oriented. It's not, I'm in denial about this because I'm in denial about it, or I'm in denial about it because it clashes with my vision of reality, so I can't accept it as a truth. It's got nothing to do with that. It's directedness to something and in service of something else. You see what I'm saying? When I'm denying the coronavirus, it's not in service of anything. No, in service of what? I just don't feel like it's true. It's an ideological problem. I don't feel like it's true.
Yeah.
I'm denying.
It's rooted in selfishness versus the other one that's rooted in selflessness. Because that's the difference.
You see the logic? It's like I thought about this. You see. It's like I gave it some time beforehand. I thought about this. But listen, I will say this. No, look, I'm gonna save you. I save you. Listen, because I know that Freddie needs your attention, and I know. You can't be away from Ferris for too long. I know. And I know that today's a rough day for you. So look at me, like doing the work for you. I'm gonna wrap this up nice and quick, right? So I know that we getting towards the end of the seminar. I get it. And everybody's missing us already, and they're feeling away because you want to leave. Trying to run away. See, great dictator and all your benevolence, and you want to leave us. What's the point?
I mean, I have, my benevolence has to be shared. I have a student I have to meet with. Freddie needs my attention. I gotta go roller skating today.
You gotta go roller skating today? That's the obligation?
Yeah.
The obligation is you need to go roller skating.
The world of skating needs.
The world of skating needs you, fam?
Clearly.
I mean, sure, no. All right, but look. The point is, that was a Lessons from Literature. Y'all go look up Anton Chekhov. Go look up The Bet. Have a read of it. It's a 5-page long thing, and then the links, everything y'all need should be in the chat, and then we'll post those links up in the links to the seminar afterwards. But do your subscriptions. Go check us out on SoundCloud. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. Obviously, do sign up. Hit the bell for your reminders. We're here every single week, 7 p.m. Same time, same place. YouTube live.
2 p.m. New York.
2 p.m. EST. 7 p.m. GMT. Thank you for that. I forgot. Very, very true. 2 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. GMT. Shout out to all our New York family over there. Because we know you're watching, of course. We've got things coming in the pipeline, but we're back here next week with the great dictator Tanzeem, of course, and your boy Dr.E, bringing you, education for the new generation. These open seminar series, number 32, we all done. I'm gonna see y'all next week. You come back here, stay home, stay safe, stay blessed. Keep your masks on. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives been matter. Black Lives still matter. That's always just what it's gonna be over here. Peace, love, and health to everybody. Thank you all for coming along.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Great dictator. I'm gonna see you. One.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.